What's going on, y'all? It's your main man, King Bishop. Just had a text message come in. Checking in with y'all from Duncan, South Carolina. So, I'm having a pretty sucky evening. So, let me tell you a little bit about, give you a little bit of education for those of you who are interested in becoming an owner operator, a lease purchase operator, or more or less with a company who has an owner operator setup. So, basically, a lot of carriers work this way. Okay, so you have the carrier themselves. I'm going to use Landstar as an example because Landstar has this same exact setup. So you have Landstar. Okay, Landstar itself is a brand. It's a company, um, but it's more or less a brand. Customers, whether it be Walmart or wherever it is, come to Landstar and say, I have freight I need to be moved. Landstar has a network of drivers who it gives the opportunity through the load board to get these loads. In that sense, Landstar themselves are the broker for the load. Another way it may happen is um, U.S. Express may call Landstar and say, hey, I have 3 loads coming out of Walmart that I couldn't cover. I need you to get a couple drivers to cover it. So in that sense, Landstar is still a broker, but U.S. Express is the broker on the load. Okay? They just become the carrier. Landstar becomes simply the carrier at that point and not as much as broker in the load. And then when you get into the details of this stuff is when you start adding agents. So what's an agent? An agent is someone who has a broker's authority, but they choose to run underneath of a larger carrier to make the availability to get loads moved easier. So let me give you another example using the same scenario. So the U.S. Express calls an agent and said, hey, I have 3 loads I couldn't move. Okay? They say, okay, I'll get your 3 loads moved. The agent then, if they have drivers who they deal with every day, they may call, they may text or whatever. They may take those loads and put it on Landstar's board. That's where you get into. So the agent is the middleman that represents the driver, more or less. A broker is the middleman that represents the shipper, to make it all easy. Now, don't get it twisted. By represent the driver, I mean that maybe a better word is connect. So the broker is the person who connects to the shipper, and the agent is the one that connects to the driver. Okay, so in simpler terms, do they do the same thing? More or less. Their jobs are the same, except for brokers are not looking for trucks. They're looking for someone who has trucks to move it. An agent is not always, some agents do have direct customer freight where they don't have to go through the broker at all, or go through load boards. They deal directly with the shipper. That happens a lot of times. But in most cases, a lot of these agents are working the load boards. They're working the load boards, and if they have 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 drivers who tell them, hey, I want to work with you exclusively, they try their best to keep those drivers moving. I am having a crappy day dealing with the broker and the agent and the customer. So I picked this trailer up out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Start moving today. Get to Atlanta, which is about 150 miles away from Tuscaloosa, and the the rear axle of the trailer on the driver's side is smoking really bad. Now, I had a hard brake incident where a car that was in front of me, I was in the all the way slow lane, the 4th lane over, and a car actually ran into the guardrail. He was some type of distracted, sleepy, I don't know what, but it was in the middle of the day, but he ran into a guardrail. There was traffic all around me. I decided that I was not going to swerve to avoid him to try to and risk taking someone else's life, so I decided to slam on brakes. I was able to stop. I didn't hit him. Everything was fine. But at this point, I've had a hard break, and now the trailer's reacting to it by smoking. So I pull over to the side of the road. I'm thinking it's just like anything else. Trailer smokes, you let it cool down, everything will be okay. Well, I let it cool down. I sat for about an hour, stopped smoking. I still let it cool down a little while longer. I wanted to be sure I get rolling. I stop and take a break to get something to eat. I don't notice any smoke. I do notice a smell of burning, but it's not bad. So I keep moving. And this whole process, I've stopped 3 times to try to find a repair facility. Now, mind you, just getting ahead of myself, when I stopped on the side of the road in Atlanta, I called maybe 8 different repair shops, and nobody would come to me in the middle of downtown Atlanta. Well, not downtown, but in the middle of Atlanta doing all that traffic. Either people didn't have roadside, or they just were like, no, I'm not willing to come out there. So I had to keep moving, so I got the agent's approval to keep moving before I did move. Because like you said, the agent is my contact. I called the broker and I made him aware of the situation, but the agent is my contact. So, long story short, I finally get to South Carolina, and I see a TA. I'm like, you have to have one. I stop, boom, we're good. Get checked in. They call me in. All right, cool. So they start checking it out. Now, this is a very, very old trailer. This is not my trailer. This is a power-only load. This means that I'm just bringing my truck, and they are supplying their trailer. I am moving this trailer from Alabama to Maryland, and it's full of construction tools. So that's what it was. That's what it has on it. But the trailer is very, very old itself. So, long story short, the wheel hub is so old it has an older setup, which means it doesn't even look like the newer hubs, which means in order to investigate what may be wrong with it, they have to basically tear the entire hub apart, assembly and all. The problem with that is that on the back of that is a seal. Now they checked it does have an oil seal, and the oil is leaking everywhere. It's empty, rusted, which means it's been leaking long before I got it. Puts me in the clear. Problem with that is now that if they pull that assembly off, they have to change that seal. Obviously, that seal is bad because it's leaking fluid. It's so old that they may not have the seal for it. If they don't have the seal for it, the trailer becomes immobile because they cannot put the rest of the hub together. I won't even be able to pull it out of the bay. I won't even be able to pull it out of the bay to move it to a parking spot. It's stuck right here. So, in this whole process, I've been dealing with the broker and the agent and the mechanics, and even to the point where the broker attempted to try to tell me that it was my fault because I continued to move the trailer, and I told him I didn't have a choice, that I got it approved by the agent. If you have an issue, you did with the agent on why I moved, because I didn't move until she told me I had to move because there was no one going to come to me. So I did what I needed to do to get to a safe location to get it repaired. That's all I can do, other than leave it on the side of the road, which I could have done with all your tools in it, but you don't realize that. Another thing, the broker attempted to tell me that I'm not going to leave until his client, the shipper, released me to leave. And I proceeded to tell him that if he wanted a company truck, he picked the wrong guy. Because I paid the fuel, the truck note, the insurance, bobtail. I pay it all on this truck. This is my truck. I move it when I say move it. With or without a trailer, with or without your trailer. So I told him, it's up to you. If you tell them to tear it apart and it cannot be fixed, you're screwed, because today's Friday, nowhere's open, and that's the issue we have. They cannot get the parts, so it may be Monday or Tuesday before they get everything they need to fix it. And King Bishop will not be here until Monday or Tuesday waiting to get a trailer repaired. Not going to happen. So you would need to find another power unit to get it fixed. And you're still going to pay me, by the way. After going back and forth, I've been here now 3.5 hours. The customer finally made the decision to have them tear it apart. If they have the seal for it, great, fix it. If they don't, we're going to leave it, and I'm going to leave, and he's okay with that. The agent will get another truck here to pull it next week sometime, whenever it's ready. So that's the story of my Friday so far. It's been a tough one. In other news, I got big news for you guys. I'm not going to tell you right now, of course. This is called click and video bait. I'm baiting you to watch the next video. You hear me? As always, man, I appreciate y'all for watching. Please continue, because I don't have to ask y'all to do it, because y'all are already doing it. So please continue to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have noticed one thing on my page, I respond to just about all the comments. Now listen, if I have not responded to your comments, let me tell you what happens. I'm going to make it real quick. I do not have the ability for some reason to comment from YouTube's website. I have to go through the app, and the app takes forever to show the comments, and sometimes they don't put all of them up there, because I can look online and see I have comments that I'm not seeing on the app. For some reason it will not let me respond. So if I'm not responding, that's the reason why. I love y'all, man. Y'all be easy. God bless y'all. Enjoy y'all weekend. Peace.